I am so glad they have 10 minutes now. Let's talk about this because I have been fighting my cholesterol for well over 30 plus years. And this is the short segment of what has happened. And I am not a medical professional. This is all about me. This is all about me. When I was in my early 20s, the Kaiser Permanente medical system had a big cholesterol clinic going on, and I enrolled myself in the clinic. So it was really interesting. And you know me, I do a lot of testing, so this is how I tested. The first 4 months they wanted me to eat. I literally had to go every week for a class, and they taught me how to eat for cholesterol. And I had my cholesterol checked at the beginning, and then at the end of 4 months, because it takes about 3 to 4 months for your cholesterol to actually start making a difference, or so they said 30 years ago. And I had my cholesterol checked at the end. For the first 4 months, all they wanted me to do was to change my eating. I could eat nothing with a face, limit my sugars, and I did it. I limited my eating, ate nothing with a face. Everything was so bland and so horrible. No ice cream, right? No ice cream. You mess with my Haagen-Dazs, you're really messing with your life. I'm just saying. You know what that brought? No change. No change at all. No change at all. The second time they wanted me to exercise. I could go back to my normal eating, but they wanted me to exercise. So I went and I had a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and then I started tracking all my exercise. For 4 months, I exercised massively, like literally exercised. Want to know what that did? Nothing. No change at all. No change at all when I went in for my next testing. The third phase was to eliminate stress. That was a great excuse for me to cut friends out of my life that were very stressful. And you know what? I did. And you know what? My cholesterol level at the end of those 4 months went down. Not a lot, but it went down. So that showed me that a lot of my high cholesterol is caused by my stress load. So I tried to live a stressless life. That's impossible when you're a 911 dispatcher. Absolutely impossible, I'm just going to tell you. So after that, I started working on diet, exercise, and stress level. And that I just kept doing that. And I got put on medication because obviously I wasn't going to be able to control my cholesterol. I stopped the medication several years later when I had weakness of muscle, and your heart is a muscle, and I almost died. I was up here. I had not had my medication in a while because I was in the middle of moving. This was 2010. I found my medication in a box. I took it, and I proceeded to literally not be able to move. A little bit after taking it, it was just very apparent that my body was reacting to it, reacting to something, and I couldn't move. And then I could barely breathe. And I literally sat in a chair, unable to move and dial 911, unable to text my husband, unable to do anything. And I just concentrated on breathing. Concentrated. And when I mean I couldn't move, I mean I could not move. It scared the heck out of me. It scared me enough to get me moving. That's when I started realizing, okay, I'm no longer taking this stuff because I did it the next day. I didn't really correlate the first day until the second day, and it happened again right after I took the medication, shortly after. And then I was like, oh, this is it. And then I started doing researching. And I researched drugs.com has an interaction chart, and it tells you all the side effects. And one of the side effects is muscle weakness. And your heart is a muscle. And I literally could feel it struggling. It's the weirdest feeling ever. And then I watched a TED Talk, and this doctor that's on the TED Talk is one of the guys that is against the cholesterol meds. And he made a comment about how the interactions that I was having. And he said that cholesterol medication only helps 30 to 40% of the people slightly, but yet it causes a massive amount of interactions and side effects. And I can't even find his TED Talk anymore. I wish I could. Can't even find it anymore. It was amazing and revolutionary, and that was when I started my whole kick. Okay, well, I'm going to eat like they did in the 30s. I'm going to go back to the original form of eating, and I started changing everything. I threw out all of my seed oils. I threw out all of my fake food, all of the low cholesterol packaged food. I went back to eating bacon and eggs and bacon fat and all of that stuff. And I went in to get tested because my doctor was amazing. And I could go in every 3 to 4 months and be tested for cholesterol. And she was just like, let's go for it. And when my cholesterol dropped like 60 points. She looked at me and she goes, "What did you do this time?" And I told her, I said, "I eat bacon and eggs and I cook with bacon grease all the time, every day." And she's like, "No way." And I'm like, I still eat like that today. I still eat like that today, but my cholesterol is going up sky high. So I started the Brazil nuts just to see if it would work and if it would help me with my belly fat and the insulin resistance that I feel like is going on, but maybe isn't. But the cholesterol would be a benefit if it would lower it. But then I did something else. I started researching my history and I started talking to my relatives. They all have high cholesterol. And I started researching how old my relatives were, my ancestors were when they died. And they all died at a very old age. And none of them died from heart-related issues. None of them. So then I started looking at that going, interesting. They're all living to their late 80s, early mid 90s, some of them into their late 90s. And they all have really high cholesterol. My doctor, new doctor, because I had to get a new one. Thank you. You get to keep your doctor. Doesn't really work out here. And he's asking me, wanting me to go on medication. And I said, no, not in your life. And he goes, well, and I started explaining to him and he looked at me and he goes, it is true that people have genetically high cholesterol and we could put you through a ton of tests. But if you have genetically high cholesterol, because I did all the research, very big possibility. He goes, even if you did the tests, there's nothing we can do for you. So I'm just living with the high cholesterol because you know what? My whole family has high cholesterol and I don't want the side effects from the drugs because obviously my body doesn't want them. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, it's still massively high. I'm just living with it. And I'm living my best life, eating my best food and doing the best for my body. And once I started actually listening to my body and doing what it liked and ignoring that number, I've never felt healthier. That's what I do. But also, I'm not a doctor and I'm probably killing myself inside, but at least I'm eating bacon.